and welcome to the Nordic Stitches YouTube channel. Originally, this is a podcast vlog kinda channel about knitting, my knitting designs, and other types of crafts. Today, I'm going to show you how to go from this to this using this. Do keep in mind, this is not a tutorial. This is a video on how I do it. This is a video on how I adapted a style that fit me. I will link in the description box below the video. Click on show more. It's just under the publishing date and the thumbs ups and downs. That's where you can find the information that I provide to each video. So I will link down below videos on YouTube that I found helpful when I started out drop spinning just over a year ago. Let's get started. Before we begin, fiber. If you've never spun before, use wool. 100% wool. You want something grippy. You don't want something that's going to slip and keep falling off and breaking so that you get discouraged. If you are allergic to wool, you can go for alpaca. Everything takes practice, but you know, starting out with something that's going to stick a little bit more to itself is going to make it easier for you. Fiber comes in braids, like the one that I will show you after, how I prepared that one, and Rolex. Those are the ones that I have at home that I can show you. When it comes to fibers, there's everything from animal fibers to plant fibers. So if you're vegan, you can totally spin without feeling guilty for animals. And I am going to show you how I separate a wool blend. For this video, I'm using 100% merino. This colorway is Reflected Light. It's hand-dyed 100% merino. The dyer behind this is Amy Florence of Stranded Dye Works. She released some hand-dyed fiber in her shop and I grabbed it, and I am so glad I did because it's amazing. It spins up so beautifully, and you will get different expressions depending if you're using a single color braid or a multicolor braid like these two. I only have top whirl drop spindles. When it comes to technical terms for spinning, I ain't really well. I've spun for just about a year for therapeutical reasons. It's very soothing, it's very mind clearing, and it really has helped. All my drop spindles are from Louise of Spin City, UK, and she hand makes her drop spindles with acrylic and pressed flowers. And she's also got some Harry Potter themed, glitter themed. Yeah, there's a lot of things in her shop. So this one has pressed flowers in it. This one also has some pressed flowers in it. And this one has a pressed leaf. This is my favorite. But, well, it's been hitting the floor quite a bit, so it's not as good as it once was using it. So I keep it just, you know, for sentimental reasons, I guess. You can get fiber and drop spindles and more equipment both from independent people, and a lot of them actually sell on Etsy. So if you don't Google it and find it, if you Google something and you don't find it, go to Etsy and search. You can search for drop spindle starter kits. I know that Shunkleys has some of those. And spinning fiber, and you know, just go from there. Just don't be afraid to search for what you want, learn about different fibers, and see what suits you as a person before you actually get started. Spindles comes in all shapes and sizes. As I said, I have the top whirl spindles. You also get the bottom whirls with this at the bottom. No idea how that works. There are also Turkish spindles. No idea how those work either, because I've only spun for just about a year and these are all that I've used. So, like I said, it's not going to be a tutorial, just going to tell you how it's been for me. Okay, you don't need a leader, but I really do recommend that you start out with one. I don't use one all the time anymore, but I'm gonna show you how I do it. So this is just cotton, crochet cotton thread, and I'm just gonna fold it double. Make sure it's a little bit length to it. This is what's going to help you get started and get the spin into the yarn. Put a knot at the end, and now we're going to place it on the spindle. Over, and pull a little bit on it, and tuck it into itself somehow. Just open it up as a loop, go through it, and pull through. And there it is, nice and secure on the spindle. Now attach it to the hook, or the whatever you call it in English, on the top. And now we're ready to grab some fiber and start spinning. So what I do is, I don't like working from an entire ball like this, so I just pull the fiber apart slightly like this. Leave it on the side. And I pull on it just on the beginning here, like so. And you can use your knees or thighs for this. This is the only time I use the part method. And then I go here, I open up my cotton thread, pull the fiber through like so. Now I spin very thin, very, very thin, so it's probably not the best showcase anyway, but your fiber is now in place. You want to make sure that you pull it through and press it double and pinch. Pinching is a big part of spinning. So you want to make sure that this doesn't get caught here, because that's going to make a mess. And now you just flick this around using your fingers. You want to spin in one direction and ply in the other direction. So make sure you know which way you spin, so you know which way you can ply. I spin clockwise and I ply counter clockwise. I think that's the word. So once you build up some twist in here, you start pulling on the fiber. And it's important that you keep your pinch. I'm just gonna make sure that I have some, and then I can I have some yarn, and I'm gonna untwist it from the drop spindle, and I'm gonna spin it on, well, twirl it on, I don't know the English word for this, onto the drop spindle. And now it looks like this. So how do I pinch and how do I draft? Well, it really depends. Sometimes I like pre-drafting, just pulling out strands of fiber, having them on the table and just grabbing as I go. And when I work, well, that's mostly when I work with single colored yarn. When I work with hand-dyed single colored fiber. When I work with hand-dyed fiber like this, I prefer doing it this way. So it's important that you keep your pinch, because if the twist goes into here, it's going to be impossible, well, close to impossible to draft, which means pulling the fibers out. So twirl, pinch, pull on the fiber, pinch, let go. It's all about the pinch and the draft. So how I do it is that you pinch your fiber from stopping it going into, from stopping the twist from going into the actual fiber. Because if you do that, it's going to be impossible to draft. Now, when you start out spinning, you're going to make what we today call art yarn. It's going to look a little chunky and very thin, and it's going to vary in thickness, and it's okay. Some people say that you need to learn how to love that, because if you continue spinning and get very good at it, that's going to be difficult making in the future. I today have no problems making art yarn, but I do prefer this. grab the fiber, pull it apart, let go of this grip so that the twist can go up, and there's your new pinch. And then go again. Twirl. Change your grip, pull on the fiber, pinch again, and let your first pinch go. Twirl. Change your grip, pull on the fiber, pinch, let go. Change your grip, pull on the fiber, pinch, let go. You are going to drop your spindle. It's okay. So get one of the affordable wooden drop spindles at the beginning. Some come with a notch for the yarn, some don't. I have never had use for the notch. If that is something that you think that you might want, just look for a drop spindle with a notch in it. Again, shall we? Spin, change your grip, pull on the fiber, pinch, let go. Spin, change grip, pull on the fiber, pinch, let go. Change grip, pull on the fiber, pinch, let go. And you keep doing that until you're out of fiber. When you attach new fiber, I do the same. I pull some apart. And I do what I did when I started out with the leader thread. I pull it out, and I pull it extra thin because you're gonna want to try and make the layer match the thickness of your single ply. It's not important when you get started, but I want to cover it in this one as well, just so you can have something to watch back on. So when I've done that, I'm gonna put it over what I have left, the leftovers. And I'm gonna make sure that they are equally thin and let the pinch go. Continue while grabbing a little tighter on these. And that was a little too thin. So I'm gonna break the fiber again and place it over, pinch it down, and let the twist travel up it. So this way the twist travels up both the fiber you have left and the fiber that you attach, making them stick together. Probably not the best way to show that, but again, Louise from Spin City has such a good video on how to drop spin, so I really urge you to check that out. When I'm done with this, I'm going to show you how I take this from the ball winder, and then I'm going to do this 2 more times, so I have 3 cakes of single ply, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I ply. Okay, so I've spun up the fiber and I want to transfer it over to my ball winder. I have a tiny little tape here just to hold the yarn in place because this notch doesn't really hold very well onto the yarn. So I'm going to thread it on here, lay it in place, tape it down, and hold it in my hand like this, and I always try to grab the actual plate, and I'm just gently going to wind it on. And just for video purpose, I'm gonna speed this part up. At the end it can get a little tricky, so just, you know, take your time. Make sure you don't break the yarn. That's why you want to be careful too, and don't go too fast. And because I've used a cotton thread leader, I'm just gonna break the yarn here. To separate it from the leader, I'm gonna just place it around the cake like that. And because it's wool, it is gonna stick a little bit to itself, so it will stay there. And then I make sure that I hold this while I push the yarn cake off. And I do this 3 times. And as you can see beside me here is my Christmas project bag, because we are celebrating the Nordic Stitches Christmas in July by doing a Vlogmas in July. So I'm just gonna very gently put these cakes right here. I'm not going to squeeze them. And I'm gonna pull the yarn from each of the centers. And I'm gonna ball it up. At this stage, I smooth out any kinks. As you can see, it kinks up on itself, and it's supposed to do that. But in this stage, you want to smooth it out. So I usually try to separate the strands with my fingers. That makes it easier. And as you can see, some of it comes out, and you just very gently go from the opposite side, from the cake side, and pull it back until you're left with no more knot. You do not want to use force, you do not want to use speed. You want to be gentle and take your time. Making yarn is not something you do for if you want to do something quickly. It really does take a little time, at least for drop spinning. I have never, well, I have tried spinning on a wheel when I was a child, when I was in school, but I can't say that I remember how it's done. And also, it's so many years ago now that I like to say that I've only ever drop spun, so. But I can imagine that it's going to take a little less time on a spinning wheel. Also on a spinning wheel you have bobbins that you can work from, so you don't have to cake up the yarn, which also saves time. So I have not learned anywhere where to make 3-ply on a drop spindle. So this is just how I come up with how to do it. I have removed the leader thread from my spindle. I'm gonna tie a knot at the end of the ball. Probably gonna break some super talented spinners' hearts. And I'm gonna put it back onto the drop spindle. Now I apply it in the opposite direction, so counterclockwise for me. And it's easy now because I'm working from the ball, so as I let the spindle go, and I don't have to worry about pinching the fiber, so this is a lot quicker. When I have about 30-40 centimeters, I do not know what that is in inches, I only speak metric. I take it off, I put it on here, I wrap the yarn around a few times so that it sticks, and then I just keep spinning. So keep the ball like this, spin the opposite direction, and just take it off the ball as the spindle goes. And take it onto the spindle. And that, my sweet friends, is how I spin a 3-ply. When it comes to setting the twist, I'm going to show you that, of course, as well. But if you wonder how much spin I put into it. I just, I feel for it. I spin until I like the look of the yarn. It is supposed to kink a little bit up on itself like this, and that's what's setting the twisty, why that is a step in the process, because that is actually going to take care of that. So I am going to come back when I have all of this ready to go onto my Swift. Okay, so it's all on the drop spindle. That is looking gorgeous. And now I am gonna put it on the Swift. This is usually the stage where I drop my drop spindle over the edge of the veranda and down to the lawn. I'm gonna try and not do that now. First, I just attach it, and from here, I just hold on to the drop spindle and very gently start moving the Swift so that it takes the yarn off the drop spindle and onto the Swift. I used to make a cake. I vary it. Sometimes I make a cake and then put it back here onto the Swift, and sometimes I just go from the drop spindle to the Swift. It really depends on the mood. At the end, it might start to get a little difficult, so just like when you cake it up, you just take your time and make sure that you get it all on there without any difficulties. And I did not drop the spindle over the veranda, so yay. Okay, so now what I do is that I tie this yarn around. Usually yarn dyers make figure eights. I do not do that for my hand spun just because the most I do is 50 grams, so they won't really knot up for me anyway. Then I go to the one that I attached when I started and I take that out and I do the same. Like so. Okay, so there are tons of tiny little meat-eating flies outside and they eat me up, so I'm gonna show you how to make a hank if you haven't done so before. And I'm gonna show you how to do that indoors with a little poor lighting, so I'm sorry about that. I just grab the yarn and hold that straight, lift it off, and twist in one direction with one finger, in the opposite with the other. And I just do that simultaneously for a few times. Then I take one, grab the other and pull through, and ta-da, yeah, hang. Okay, so this is before setting the twist. It is pretty kinked up. And now we're gonna get the cakes out of there. thank you so much for watching. I hope that even though this wasn't a tutorial per se, that it may have inspired you to pick up drop spinning, pick back up drop spinning, or just look more into it. I want to say before I log off, because this has been a question, who inspired me to start drop spinning. I have actually mentioned this on the podcast before. The person who started my interest for drop spinning is Kristen of Wool and Vine Yarns and Yarngasm podcast. The first time I ever saw drop spinning was on her channel. She just flicked her spindle. I think I came across one of her videos that she made exclusively, you know what I mean, for drop spinning, how she drop spins. And I instantly thought, ooh, I want to in on that. I want to make my own yarn like that. So I went on to Etsy and I searched for drop spindles, and automatically in the search, drop spindle kits for beginners came, and I grabbed one of those. She doesn't really spin much now. She's picked it back up as of this day, but I don't know if that's something that she planned on doing further, but you can definitely check out her channel if you haven't already and locate that video that I referred to. Also, that video was actually included in the playlist that I have included down below. You can save the actual playlist link instead of the links to all the videos, which makes it a lot easier for you. Other people who inspire me today with spinning is Amy Florence, Stranded Dyeworks, and Grace from Vanilla Meal, Babble Travels Yarn. It's hot. I can't think straight. I love the heat, but I can't think straight. So yeah, if you want more inspiration for drop spinning, just go to Instagram or Google and search for drop spinning, and that way you can find videos as well, because Google and YouTube are the two biggest search engines in the world. Google owns YouTube, so they actually, when you search for drop spinning and you click on videos, YouTube automatically will pop up at the top, because, well, that's just how it works. So if there's anything at any time that you need to learn or want to know in regards to anything, YouTube and Google really are the places to go. So yeah, that's enough ramble from me today. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and click on that stalker button down below there. It says subscribe, and press the bell icon. That way you get notifications when I publish new videos. I will be back August 2nd with Vlogmas. I will be making those videos one day late just to include more of the day. So yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions or feedback whatsoever, make sure that you drop it down below. If you have tips and tricks as to where people can find more information on drop spinning, classes, books, whatever, be sure to link it down below. YouTube can put that in the spam filter just because you put a link in there, but I do go through the spam filter, so if I see a comment from you there, I will automatically approve it. So just give it a few days, because I do have a lot of things to do these days, so if it doesn't pop out an hour after you post it, well, take into consideration that I'm busy and I live in a different time zone. So thank you so much for watching, whoever you are and wherever you are. I hope that you're having a wonderful day no matter how you craft, and yeah, bye. There's always so much ramble at the end.